Loving life easily and effortlessly.
Oh,
That just makes me feel good to even say those words. Loving life easily and effortlessly.
it's and if you're a 10, then you can still love life at a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be easily and effortlessly. It won't be, because you're going to be forcing yourself through a drain hole trying to get results.
White knuckling it a wee bit. Yeah.
But the intention is to move you towards that zero.
Yeah.
And loving life easily and effortlessly. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get that wrong.
Effortlessly.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Greetings, dear friends. Hello, dear Deb. Hello, dear listeners.
I love you. Greetings, dear friends.
Greetings from another planet.
Yeah, it's Elf. That's Elf. Yeah. Greetings. Hi.
Hi. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations. Such a fun thing for us to do. Well, I think it's fun. I know you think it's fun too.
I love it. Even if I do have to get up really early in the morning for Moira. And it's at the end of her day.
How we roll.
But daylight savings moves everything around. Yeah.
Shifts everything. Yes. Yes. So welcome. We've got a really, really good topic for our conversation. I trust that it's going to be like gentle and loving and nurturing and gives you all the tips that you're looking for on this day. But before we get stuck into our conversation, if you've listened to us before, you know that we like to do this reassessment protocol where we assess ourselves, we check in, and we're checking in on our PEMS, our physical well-being, our emotional state, our mental state, and our spiritual connection. And we rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 for Zen, 0 is when you're calm, blissed out, present, peace. And 10 is when you're feeling stuck and chaotic and oh my God, and OMGs and just, maybe smoke coming out your ears. Yeah, smoke coming out your ears, not sure what to do. And the truth is we all move up and down that scale. But you can't change or manage anything until you actually are aware and accept what's going on right in this moment. And sometimes even just assessing, oh, I'm at a 4, can give you some insight and actually can sometimes halt the chaos or the crazy making situation that's going on in your mind. So that's why we like to do this. So we're going to assess ourselves, and we both do this with you. So listeners, we encourage you to get a writing instrument and a piece of paper, because we're going to give you lots of awesome notes.
Even though Moira's already shared the first one, that's just the standard that we do on all of our tips.
That's right. But so make a note of where you are, what number you're at. Then when we do the halftime check-in, just see how you are, and then we'll all check in again at the end. And of course, the intent of our conversations is to move us all closer to the 0. So all that being said,
as I'm nodding, as Moira's talking,
nodding.
I'm nodding away. Yeah. Yes, it is.
So my dear Deb, what number are you at?
So I would have said I was a 1.5, but since you've started talking, I'm yawning. I've got a sore back. It's made me sit really weirdly in my seat. Something's just happened. in my whole physical body. And I'm like, oh, you're not a 1 point. I literally went, oh, no, I'm a 1.5. I feel great. Things are in order. This is going to be a great conversation. You know, my desk seems in order. And then all of a sudden, sore throat, that sniff thing in my back. And so I'm going to say a 2.5. But that's how quick, I just would like to acknowledge, that's how quick it changed. What I thought was a 1.5, and then the physical went, I don't think so. There's a few things going on that you're not seeing. So I'm going to be a 2.5 right now.
Very good. Well, very good. And that's a beautiful example and illustration of going, oh, my head said it was this, but then as I drop in, this is what it's feeling. So
yeah.
It's very good awareness.
And I'm not judging. And the other things, you can't stuff this up. It's just a number.
Yeah.
Like, don't get attached. If you're an 8,
so be it.
That's it. You're an 8. And if you stay at an 8 at the end, so be it, which you won't.
You won't. Yes.
You won't. But our intention is a lot clearer than that. But you can't, like, it's just a number. It's just a number.
It is just a number. Absolutely. Yeah. So similar to you, I'm actually at a 2. But initially I thought I was a 1. But then kind of went, I've got this sort of weird tickly sensation at my nose. Maybe I have to sniff something out here.
Yeah.
But there's just I think that and you and I are the same in that regard, is that if you've got some kind of issue in your body, there's something to be discovered, acknowledged, dealt
with.
There's
a little niggle.
Yeah.
There's a little niggle going on.
Little niggle. Which of course there is no niggles in the topic of our conversation today. Is loving life easily and effortlessly.
Oh,
that just makes me feel good to even say those words. Loving life easily and effortlessly.
It's, and if you're a 10, there you can still love life at a 10. And it may not be easily and effortlessly. It won't be, because you're going to be forcing yourself through a drain hole trying to get results.
White knuckling it a wee bit. Yeah.
But the intention is to move you towards that 0 and loving life easily and effortlessly. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get that wrong.
Effortlessly.
Yeah, spit that out. Well, I loved that when Moira actually described the PEMS and at the start and the pillars and the numbering system, she actually said the tip that I'm sure we start with every time. I was like, that's our first tip. Clearly it is. And she said it was being aware and accepting.
Yes, absolutely.
And that has got to be, in no particular order, that one. Number 1 is be aware of yourself, what's around you, not the why, but just being aware and accepting it. And then you can actually go to and I say, as soon as you can do that, then the next level of healing is so much easier. But if you're stuck on that first one, if you can't get on the bike to bike, then you're clearly not going to get to number 2.
No.
But I do love that Moira actually said that right at the very start around our numbers, which I've never heard her say. She probably has. Somebody else is probably going to go, yeah, I've heard her say that. She says it every week, does she?
Obviously, just landed at the right point, right time.
Yeah, I was focusing on my number. What number am I? Yeah. But I do love the aware and accepting, because just that is, as soon as you do that, that is an easy and effortless thing. As soon as you can just go, okay, I'm aware of it. Yep. I don't like it. You can think whatever.
You don't have to like it. No.
But and you have to accept it, like as in, okay, this is what it is.
It just
then
is
you
what
can
it
deal
is.
with it.
Yes.
Yeah. It is what it is. That's right. I love that saying. Moira goes, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That is definitely number 1.
Definitely.
How to love your life effortlessly and easily.
You mentioned in what you just said about the awareness and acceptance that sometimes people will then go into why. If I'm aware of something and then I accept it, but why am I feeling this? I think that's point number 2, is don't allow the why to come up like that, because it will that doesn't go with the easily and effortlessly part, because it's setting up something like why. You see, there's there's I was going to say physiological, but it's not. It's an internal mechanic mindset wise, that if I say something and somebody says to me, why did you say that? My immediate reaction on some level of me is because I don't know what I'm doing, or because I'm a screw up, or because I'm daft, or I'm not worthy of having this, or I'm not, right? So it immediately puts you into this kind of challenge, sort of. It doesn't, it's like it's a force coming at you.
Yeah.
You know?
I call the why the hamster wheel.
Yes.
Because the hamster wheel is, you go round and round and round, and some moments are faster than others. and you're sweating and you're going, and but the only way to get off that why is to fall off. The hamster wheel is to fall off, and then you do the dead ant. You're on your back with your legs in the air because you literally are dizzy. And the why, whenever someone goes why, I go, oh, hamster wheel. Literally.
No, I completely agree with you, because
there's no result in that hamster wheel.
There's no result, and it can drive you so crazy, right? Because it's round and round
Well, it
and
takes
round,
you out of your heart. It takes you out of we're moving. It takes you out of moving forward easily and effortlessly.
That's right.
Nailed that one.
Did it.
But it is and that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking you out of that, and life is about having it easy.
Yes.
And effortlessly.
Yes.
Effortlessly. Yeah.
And so really, when we, in order to get into that loving life easily and effortlessly, I think it's really important to create little pauses for yourself to check in. Am I flowing into this situation with ease and effortlessness? Or is there challenges, obstacles, mind chatter, blocks, things coming up that make it a little bit more of a challenge? Could actually be some guidance for you to say, pause, or maybe something better is going to come up, or maybe this is not the right option for you, or the best time for you. Or so it's that flow. The ease and effortlessness comes from being present and interacting with your emotional guidance.
And so that's your hand on your heart.
Absolutely.
You've taught me taught me so many times. And I guess, without before, when I said I was a 1 or a 1.5, I was sitting there at that, and then my back went, oh, and and all the rest of it happened. And I went, and all I did was check in there. I didn't put my hand on my heart that time, but I did just check in and go, really, you're going to say you're 1.5 when really all this other stuff's just literally bang, bang, bang in front of you? Yeah. And so so I literally checked in and just went, no.
Yeah.
And so it's that checking in and not denying again, which goes back to that aware and accepting.
Yeah.
I mean, my hand on my heart, I love the hand on the heart. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Moira. And so, Moira, you describe the hand on the heart, because I love the way Moira describes it, just saying.
So the hand on the heart is actually a process where you can do it anytime you realize that you're in your head. Oh my God, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe that, maybe. Y'all do it. It doesn't matter who you are, how much work you've done on yourself. So all you do is you take the tips of your 2 fingers and you tap on your forehead in between your eyebrows. Just tap there, because this is actually really bringing your awareness to, hey, I'm in my head. And then you tap 3 times on the bridge of your nose and 3 times on the tip of your nose. Then you tap on your lip, in between your upper lip and your nose, then on your chin. And then you form your hand into a light fist and just thump it all around your collarbone chest area. This is the thymus area. Some people call it the high heart. I like to think of it as the seat of judgment. It's where we can get kind of congested because we are not speaking from our heart. So we want to stimulate that whole area, break up anything that's stuck there, and then open your hand, place it on your heart, and say out loud 3 times, I live here. I live here. I live here. And one of the things that I love, anytime, as soon as I put my hand here, I get such a huge welcoming warmth. It just envelops me into a. So I hope you followed along, dear listeners.
I watched Moira do it. I didn't do it. I followed Moira going, oh, there she is doing it in front of me. And me, I found the shortcut, and I just put my hand on my heart, put pressure on my heart through my chest, and remind myself I live here. But Moira has a bigger impact when you do her way.
It's such to me, the way I developed it that way was to honor. It's not to, how sometimes we can find ourselves in our head, and then there's another critical voice that comes out, stop being in your head.
The old Pac-Man.
It's like the narrator says, oh, but I thought you weren't going to keep going in your head and you were going to go to your heart. But this way, and just by coming down ever so gently, it's bringing your awareness step by step down and then being there. And I really do encourage people to say that I live here out loud, so you can hear it.
Yeah.
Not just hear it internally, but you can hear it through your ears, right?
I love that. And that just shuts down, to me, that shuts down all chaos, whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're driving and somebody, and I always say that, I use my great reference, some dirty bugger cuts you off and you're like, right, get that hand on that heart as quick as you can and just get yourself back, because it literally does shut down all that outside craziness.
Absolutely. Well, something that I just thought of as you were describing that is that if you think about any kind of tapping, like I use EFT tapping, emotion freedom technique tapping. I use it on myself, and I teach my clients this too. And Deb and I've done some of this before too.
It's amazing.
It's very cool. But so tapping, if it's like a formulated modality like that, or doing that head into heart, that exercise that I just described, I call it head into heart. But what you're doing when you're tapping your physical body like that is you're soothing your nervous system. And so
I've never thought of that, actually.
Yeah.
Moira says, do this. I'm like, okay. I've never actually thought, what is this doing? The bigger picture, I just know it works. And
right.
Yeah.
But that is soothes your nervous system, which then helps you. You know how we can get jangly nerves, and that can feed a whole dialogue, which then can feed the why and the hamster wheel and all that.
And then it can feed a dialogue that doesn't even belong to you.
Yes,
that you've just happened to have walked past and said, I'll take that dialogue. Thanks very much.
Yes, you can just take up space and have some real estate in my mind as well. Why not?
Yeah, sure. The hand on heart to me is my go-to. I have different modalities, but that to me is the quickest and most effective straight away.
Yeah.
That stops no matter what's going on around you.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I've talked about, right? It's a beautiful pattern interrupt. It's a beautiful way to just press pause for a moment. You can just literally do what you're saying, do the shortcut one, and just check in. Are the words I'm about to use, whether they're about me or about anything else, whether they're coming out of my mouth to somebody or they're thoughts that I'm entertaining, are they heart-based?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's either external or internal.
Exactly. Are they heart-based? Are they coming from this loving heart? That's what we're talking about. Loving life easily and effortlessly. Well, I don't know about you, but you don't need a lot of effort to put your hand over your heart.
No, and I wouldn't say I don't worry about it, but I do worry about what other people often think about me. And I say it. I can clearly say it doesn't bother me, but there are little triggers sometimes that people give you a side eye, and you're like, "Oh, what did I do? What did I say? Did I do something or something?" There is that. So no person would just never not worry about what other people think, but there are triggers that happen.
Yeah.
But this is a great one that if you are on stage and someone asks you a question and you're like, shoot, I don't know the answer to that. Just give me a minute. And you go, that's a great question, as you're thinking, oh my God, get that. Put that hand on that heart. So it's something you can do publicly without alerting other people that you're in a pickle.
You're in a pickle. Exactly.
Yes, just something that you can do that people, that you can do publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Would be that's it, full stop, really. Yeah.
And so therefore, because if you can have something that, because that's like a self-soothing piece, right? So if you can do that publicly, then you're not going to go into, oh, well, I better just do it this way because I don't want these people judging me.
To please other people, because you're straight away, you're opting for your own self-healing, that you're honoring yourself, you're grounding yourself, you're not asking an external person or anybody to help you. It's actually, you've got this.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of my favorites, I would say, would be another tip is gratitude.
Definitely.
Grateful, blessings, you can call it whatever you want. I'm not saying positive. I'm saying gratitude, because positive's a different word to gratitude. Gratitude is a heart-based, positive's a head-based. And if you can be grateful for the highs and the lows, the lefts and the rights, whatever it is, if you can be grateful, or when you're grateful for what is, that is the quickest way to loving life. And it is easily and I say effortlessly because I can clearly do that a lot quicker than some people who go, what are you grateful for at this moment with this happening? Nothing. Nothing. He did this to me. Nothing.
Right.
And so because of my 17 years experience, I can clearly pull out a benefit very quicker than some. But it just grounds you, and gratitude is the greatest gift. Like gratitude is the greatest gift to healing, but also, it activates so much more in you're youthful. You don't get old. When you're out of gratitude, you get old and wrinkly. And, nothing wrong with getting old and wrinkly, but I'm putting that one off as much as I can right now. Clearly it is a trigger for me, but gratitude is a way to stay.
Gratitude for all my wrinkles.
Yeah. I actually just noticed a new one the other day and I went, I've got to be grateful for that. That was me. Got to be grateful for that. I'll come back to you. I'll park you. So of course, what am I doing? I'm talking about it now. I've got a new wrinkle. But it is about being grateful, and it just fills your warm body up. Mm-hmm. And it takes you out of that state that you're in.
Absolutely. Which oftentimes the state you're in is something of your mind's construct, right? Whereas I think for myself, I can get into a state of gratitude very quickly and easily, like you, simply from the perspective of I solidly believe that no matter what kind of chaotic, crazy-making situation I'm in or experiencing, there's always something that I can still be grateful for. And it's always knowing that. It's not saying nothing. Somebody said, what are you grateful for? Well, I'm grateful for the sun on my face right now. Or I'm grateful for the sound of the birds outside my office, right?
Yeah. It is funny when people say, I say, okay, let's turn this into gratitude. And they're like, no, there's nothing. Okay. He left me. He did that.
Right.
She did that. Yes. The boss went and employed somebody else.
They did this to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Boo-hoo. And I just smile. There's nothing. Okay. Can you think of one thing? No, nothing. This is ridiculous. This is a stupid exercise. Don't know why I came to you. Boom, 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 boom. All this downhill spiral. It's like, okay, let's look at this. So it's raining outside. That's fabulous. You don't have to water the garden.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out and get in the garden. Or if you want to go out, you can go out and feel the rain on your head. Like there's so many beautiful things. Yeah, dance in the rain. Dance.
Splash.
Do you hear her accent? Yeah. But it's those little things. And then the sun shining, it's like, oh, fabulous. I can get out there because of this, and this. There is, no matter what situation you're in, there is always a blessing. And it's just about choosing what it is. Now that's definitely your heart, your head, because when you jump into your head to choose those answers or look at those answers, but then it just jumps back into your heart, because the moment you've done, if something icky has happened, 3 or 4 gratitude moments out of that ickiness, someone cuts you off in the car and, you can think of 3 or 4 benefits to you, gratitude, blessings, and it can just shift your mindset to, oh, that was surprising. It's not as bad as what I thought. Oh, yeah. It's not how it's supposed to be. And then you move on.
It's all okay. All is well in my world. Yes.
Yeah. And that is about loving life effortlessly and easily.
It truly is. It truly is.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Something that I wanted to bring into this conversation is something that I find. I follow the cycles and the phases of the moon and help people find like journaling prompts and introspective gifts from the different phases. And something that I was just reviewing of late, and I think it's something that's really important to do on an ongoing basis. But this actually came from the astrological sign of Leo, which is all about, the big, confident, courageous, sunshiny, big persona, which we all have. We all have that. But one of the pieces, and I feel like it kind of belongs in this idea of loving life easily and effortlessly, is to check in with your trajectory in life, the things you're saying yes to, the direction you're headed into, the options that you've created and continue to do. Are they yours? Or are you buying into or feeling like, I better do it because so-and-so said so? Or my parents always wanted me to be a lawyer, so I have to do that. Or I have to do this because I said I was going to this group of people, and what will they think if they see me suddenly wanting to just go off and be an artist, or things of that nature. So it's really an important piece to this. Comes from separating the head chatter, because the head chatter will say, oh, well, you better do that because what will your parents say, or what will this people say, or what will this group of people say? Because we can sometimes get indoctrinated by groups of society or on social media, or giving up our power, as opposed to saying
giving up our power. Did you hear that, people? That's exactly what it is, giving up our power.
Truly is. Yeah. So I think that's such an important part. So it's just to check in with yourself on your choices. Are they being guided by the wisdom of my heart? Are they being guided and connecting the dots for what my unique talents and gifts and what makes me say yes and brings me joy and makes me feel completely present and enjoying and loving this life with all ease and effortlessness?
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to kick the next tip off, because this is definitely one that's entangles beforehand, is regret. Don't live with regret.
Yes. Well done for bringing that into this. Important.
Because this is where, and I say guilt and shame comes into play, but regret is such a, oh, I should have said that, or I ought to have said that, or, oh, I regret not telling that person I love them and they've now gone overseas, or I regret not actually buying that, whatever it was, or doing that course, or whatever. I regret stopping Moira and Debz podcast halfway through. Yep, you can have that one. Then go back to it.
Yes, they're always there. You can still go back into the library.
Definitely go back. Yeah, it's there. But regret is such and I'm going to say an ugly thing that can just age you. I've clearly got something going on
and drain your energy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And it is that leech that's been sucked out of you. Yeah. And this is around saying what lights you up, doing what lights you up, so when the regret comes in, you've got gratitude. Be grateful for why you didn't do it at that time. That's a way just to quickly shift your regret, because shame and guilt, oh, I should have done that, or I hurt that person, or anything, any of those things. It's just, it's worse than the hamster wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's around and round.
It is around and around, but Deb, following on from that, I'm going to bring in one of our favorites we often bring into these conversations is the 4 agreements. Right? Because
I was talking about that with that lady I was just telling you about yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
But you think about, so the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. Well, if you're being impeccable with your word, you're not going to sit and go, oh, I should have done that. And oh, why didn't I do this? And I wished it. That's not being impeccable with your word. That's kind of beating yourself up with your word.
That's the hard one. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I do know that
so that was the first one. Be impeccable.
That's the one I always remember.
The next one is to not make assumptions. So sometimes that going back to what you're just saying about regret can sometimes be that you're making an assumption that because I didn't say that, then that person's upset, or that wasn't good enough, or I'm being judged in a certain way. That's an assumption. Don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
The third one is don't take things personally. Don't take anything personally.
Now, this one, I was talking to a 16-year-old girl the other day, and she goes, but you do. When people say that to you, and I'm like, oh my God, you're just beautiful because you're 16. Imagine if you could learn not to take things personally through your life.
Truly.
Like, you're going to live a different world.
Yep.
But she was just like, you have to, because they're talking to you. And I was like, what? You don't have to do anything.
No,
she's like, no, you do. And it was so beautiful to think that this lovely little 16-year-old girl was just like, but you have to take it personally because they're telling you something that's important for you to know. And I'm like, oh no, darling, we need to talk. We need to sit down properly and talk.
Definitely. So to her credit, you do listen, but then discard it if it's not true. Like if somebody says to you, hey, you're talking way too loudly, and you pause and you think, oh yeah, I was talking way too loudly, then it's okay. That really was important. But if you were not, and that person said it, then it'd be kind of like, well, I don't know who you're speaking to because I'm speaking very quiet. Actually, nobody would ever say that to me.
That's actually a funny one because my partner goes, would you stop shouting? Don't shout from the other room. And I'm like, that's not a shout. It's just my elevated voice. And she's like, no, you shout. I'm like, have you got that? You know, and I'm like, that's not shouting. I'll show you shouting. And one day I did shout. She's like, what is that? I said, that's a shout. She's like, oh.
Just prove it.
Yeah, I get what you're meaning then. I'll show you a shout.
Yeah.
If you think that's a shout. But but
it's not like, it's just like not taking it personally. Like that's actually a great example too. It's like, well, if you really think that, then I'll show you something different.
I know. So isn't that thing? I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Did you ever grow up with that? My parents are, I'll give you something to cry about. I'm like, oh, if I'm okay, I won't cry now because you know that they're
I won't let you see me crying.
Yeah, they're going up 10 levels right now. Yeah. Yeah.
But just to finish that thing about the 4 agreements, the last one is to always do your best. And that goes back to what you were saying about regret too, is that regret is saying that I didn't always do my best. Well, maybe at that point that was your best. And it's really, really important to say, this is a stumbling block I find for a lot of people, is that, you know, when you've had great sleep, you've had your exercise, you've eaten healthy, you've meditated and done all your mindfulness pieces, your best is going to be at a certain level that day. But let's say the next day you got woken up by an alarm or the dogs or the neighbor's dog and
you don't even like dogs, so it reconfirms that you don't like dogs and you don't like waking up and you don't like your bed and you don't like your pillow,
and you've got a massive to-do list and people are just seems to be coming at you and asking for more. Well, your best on that day is going to be a very different level. But what I find people will do is they'll punish themselves, they'll drive themselves and say, well, hey, I have to match that level that I did yesterday when I was in my optimum state.
Well, that's your PEMS as well. When your PEMS is out of order, and don't judge 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Because your decisions are very different. You've been educated another 2 days' time. Yeah, I love that. Always do your best. And, you know, and I say that I would bring my daughter up differently if I was to bring up a child now at my age than when I was in my early.
And it would be weird if
20s.
you didn't, wouldn't it? True.
Well, times have definitely changed. And when I had my daughter, I was 20 something, early, mid. I don't know how old I was, she'll tell you. It's not something I store in my mind. But from that, I'm differently educated.
Yeah.
I treat things differently. I eat differently. I exercise differently. I talk to people differently now compared to
you've learned so much
time.
more. Yeah.
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 And that is that regret.
Yeah.
That is that regret that you can go. But I do love the 4 agreements. It's a beautiful one. Oh my gosh, I've just noticed the time. Do we have another quick one or anything? Or are we going to end that one on the 4 agreements?
It feels like the ending on the 4 agreements feels like a really perfect spot for that.
Yeah, but I think
life easily and effortlessly. Those 4 agreements are they're simple statements, every one of them, but there's so much power in each one. I think it's such an important thing to remind yourself daily. Am I living by these agreements?
I've got the quote cards, and the quote cards of the 4 agreements are lovely. And, when I'm feeling, and so this lovely girl who was actually at our home the other day, my partner went and got the quote cards and pulled them out, and hers was, don't take anything personally.
Awesome.
And she went, how does this happen? And we're like, something bigger than you and me, babe.
Yeah.
but it is just a beautiful, and they are when you can live by them. So let's do a quick recap of where we're at today.
Definitely.
For loving life easily and effortlessly, because you can tell I can't even say the words.
I know, effortlessly.
Effortlessly. Yeah.
Listing.
So grab your pen and paper, that's your biro, and write these out and let us know if we've missed any off, because I think we've got them, but who knows?
We'll
so
see.
Number 1 was the old AA, and Moira
our version of AA.
Yeah, that's it, which seems to work for me, and that is being aware and accepting.
Yeah. And remember, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's even just aware and accepting. It is what it is. Just that's it. That's like, if that's the only thing you got out of today,
you've got it.
Then that alone is significant.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And leading on from that, we talked about once we've got into the aware and accepting, and it is what it is. Don't allow yourself to go into the crazy making why stuff. The hamster wheel, because remember that when somebody asks you why, or you ask yourself why, you are always going to start going into a negative spiral.
Yeah.
And it will start, like you said, that the hamster wheel is the perfect analogy, because it's just going to keep going round and round and round and round. And I love what you said about it's going to keep going like that until you decide to fall off it and then lie on your back with your legs in the air. That just,
you could, but that I say that because everyone now is visualizing it and going, yeah, the last time I went around that Y circle, I literally did have to get myself off. And yeah, the old hamster wheel. And the other thing is, I think about the why is when you have children, but why is the sun that color? Why are we going to Nana's house? Why are we doing that? And you're just like, because. But because why? Because that old
because
saying,
I said so.
Yeah. And as a parent, I'm sure all parents signed a mental agreement that I will never say because I said so.
Yes.
I think I'm not going to be one of those parents. I'm not going to be one of those. Well, after an amount of time, you have a child who's a quality question asker. You go, I'm one of those parents. I'm one of those parents. Yeah. And that why. But it is the hamster wheel. If you can visualize that hamster wheel, there's nobody who gets on that why hamster wheel and gets off easily and effortlessly.
Yes, there's not much ease and effort.
There's no grace and ease with that. Yeah.
No.
So the next one I've got written down is checking in. And with the checking in is our hand on the heart.
Hand on the heart. And I talked us through the full coming from your head into your heart space.
Which she did a lovely video she was doing in front of me. And I didn't even think to I didn't even think to join her in that. I was just watching her going, oh, that's such a beautiful place she's in right now, and I feel part of that. So I definitely grabbed onto her coattails and just watched Moira as she's grinning away, doing her beautifulness. But checking in and just reminding yourself you've got this. And that's all part of that hand on the heart, that you live there.
That you live from your heart. Remember, and we've talked about this on another episode, is that one of the reasons I think it's so important to go there is that there are some ways of teaching that say that's the seat of our soul is our heart. And so that's kind of where I want to be, at the seat of my soul. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, and I like this. I've got this. Because that takes away some of the struggle and can potentially bring in some of that ease, right?
But even if you've got this as a trust level, but then you can go into the trust, and you can go down the mindset part. But when you literally just do your hand on your heart, well, the process and hand on your heart, end result, hand on heart, and remind yourself, I've got this. I live here. I've got this.
Yeah.
Your head just goes, just all that.
Yeah, all that crazy making thinking. It's like, well, I
all
don't
that
have
hamster
to worry.
wheel.
Good.
The hamster wheel and that Pac-Man. It just disperses.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My next one was about, because to follow on from your check-in, my check-in idea was to check in with yourself to make sure that you are on the right path, that you are involved in the right projects and choices and decisions, that they're your truth, not that you've kind of said, oh, I'll do it because society says I have to do it this way, or I have to do this because I promised my parents, or because so-and-so told me to, or this group told me I had to. It's just to make sure, are you...
Moira and Deb told me I had to.
Yeah. Please don't ever do things just because we told you. They do need to be run through your own heart.
But we are the most wisest people around, so... Okay, I had my fingers crossed.
She had her fingers crossed all that time. No, so it is checking in. Are you living by your truth? Really important. I was saying that was Leo energy that we were tapping into.
Yeah, I love that, your truth.
Yeah.
And the next one I've got is my favorite G word. And that is gratitude. Gratitude, blessings, grateful,
appreciation.
Whatever you'd like to call it. And I'm not saying positive. I'm just saying gratitude.
Yeah.
And what are you grateful for in this situation? What are you grateful for that, from that icky thing that happened? What are you grateful for from that amazing thing that happened? Because that is heart. Right now we're teaching you to live in your heart, actually.
Yeah.
That's heart. Everything, all these tips are heart-based. Didn't realize that one. Yeah. And so gratitude is a heart-based. It's taking you right back to that heart. And when you're in your heart, you can't go wrong, because you are loving life, and it is easy and it's effortless.
Yeah.
I just said it.
She said it without slurring or
without sitting in my head going, I must word this correctly. There you go.
You did it. See?
Gratitude.
Because you came from your heart.
Yeah, that's
speaking about your favorite thing.
Yay. So our next tip, Moira, what's our next tip?
The next tip, we actually both kind of talked about this, about not regretting anything. We kind of touched upon shame and guilt in there too. It's just, remember, you're doing the best you can, and you always are. So regretting, we talked about that as being an energy drain. It kind of sets up a jagged energy in this idea of loving life. How can you love life if you're saying, oh, I wish I did it that way, or I wish I said this, or I shouldn't have said this, or but not really allowing that.
When you're sitting in that space of regret, you're going to lose friends.
Yeah.
Because if you have a close friend who's, and don't say, I don't care. If you have I could just hear someone going, I don't care. Yeah, I can live my life my way. Yeah, righto, whatever. Humble versus ego. But if you don't, if you have friends around who just are living in the past and downhill spiral, you do feel like they're a leech and they've sucked all your energy. And when you come away, you're like, oh my God, why did I go over and see that person again? Oh, I feel so exhausted. I feel drained. And you've got to do much more to recuperate and rejuvenate yourself.
Yes, truly.
So if you're thinking like that about other people, imagine what they're thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like people talking about regret and I should have done this and I ought to have done this and I'm grumpy and this person's done this to me and and you're living in that spiral down the line mentality, and you don't like people around like that, you're not going to want to be like yourself. You're not going to like yourself or those around you. It's so just be aware of that energy that you're putting out. Now, if you're in that state, I'm just going to say, if you're in that state, you can clearly get out with some tips, but also reach out to Debz and Moira because this is what we're here for. And I would rather, I had a client say to me, oh, I knew I was talking to you in 4 days' time, so I just held on to it. And I said, and what happened in those 4 days? And she said, oh, it was one of the worst 4 days of my life. And I'm like, yeah. So when you have yourself in that pickle, don't wait 4 days because you've got a booked call with me. Reach out.
Yeah.
Because that 4 days shite spirals.
Yep.
It goes, oh, she's in a bad space. Let's give her more.
I say exactly the same thing to my clients. Is that if you're in that kind of chaos, reach out. Don't go, I'll hold on to it.
Yeah, just send a message because that's the first part of healing. And we say number one was our awareness and
acceptance. Yeah.
So reach out to Debz and Moira, and even if we never get back to you, which we would, or Moira definitely would. Me, I don't know. No, I won't. But when it comes to that, just do that first step because that is honestly the first part of healing is that awareness and acceptance. But reach out.
Yeah,
so don't get yourself into that pickly state.
No pickly states allowed.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And the last tip we had.
The last one we both talked about the 4 agreements.
Yeah.
4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Don't take things personally. And always do your best. They sound so easy to say, but they are such powerful.
I know. I've pulled them up on my computer beside me. But they are. You look at them and you go, be impeccable with your word. It's like people go, oh, I can't do that. But that's your external and internal word as well. Well,
absolutely is. Yeah.
You know, don't make assumptions. I love that. And, you know, and don't take anything personally. It's just, you know, my little 16-year-old, I say little 16-year-old girl, she's nearly as tall as me. But just that alone, you know, but you have to. It's like, what? What? No, you don't. No, they're throwing mud at you. You don't have to grab it and rub it all over your body.
You don't have to do anything.
I know, it's a beautiful thing. And always do your best. Yeah. Do what you can do right now.
Yeah. And be good with that.
Yeah. Oh, these are lovely ones.
They're beautiful.
These are lovely ones.
Beautiful,
I know.
Beautiful. I love it.
Oh, I'm signing off today. That's right. You're signing
off, yes.
That's what I was like, are you doing it, Moira? So at the start, I'm in my heart. So I was like, oh, hang on. I had to jump into my head then. So at the start, we rated ourselves from a 0 to 10 where we were. And I think, Moira, you were a 1.5 or were you?
No, I was a 2.
You were a 2.
A 2. And you were a 2.5.
2.5. Yeah. And we all had this number at the start, and then we had a number halfway through, and now we're looking at a number for the finale.
Yep.
For the finale. So in saying that, what are you, Moira? And what are you people? What I don't know what Moira will be.
I'm a 0. But of course, it's just effortless ease to get to here.
But of course she's a 0. Well, I'm a 0.5 because I still have a little niggle in my back. I don't know what that is, but I will definitely resolve that because that's I'm going to jump to number 1, aware and accept it.
Yes.
And so that's, oh, wow, that just shifted. I was touching my back.
Oh, see, it just needed a bit of loving kindness.
Oh, just needed a touch. I would have thought. Okay, I'm a 0 now.
Now she just moved herself to the 0. That was the last wee piece that needed.
Wow, now I've got goosies all over my body. Okay, so Okay, so I'm a 0. So distraction. Wow, I'm jumping all over my head. I'm trying not to get onto that hamster wheel. Don't get on the hamster wheel, Deborah. Don't get on the hamster wheel.
No.
So that's how quick I just shifted then, because
Beautiful.
I went to check in with my back. Anyway, loving life easily and effortlessly. What number were you before, halfway, and at the end? We'd love to know if you could put that in our Facebook group. And if you've got any tips that we've forgotten,
we'd love to hear that. Yeah,
that you'd like us to highlight, then put them in there as well, because that's super inspiring. Definitely. For you. Mm-hmm. What a beautiful, I'm so looking forward to today now. My day, my morning. Day. Moira's finishing off her day.
I'm wrapping my day up now.
So if you love today's episode, the next step clearly is to share it.
Yep.
Share it and
with
comment.
Everybody you know. Share it with people you don't know.
Yeah, share it. Well, actually, I shared it yesterday with a dear friend, and she didn't know we did these podcasts. So we'll just say hello to you with the first name starting with E.
Hello, E.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. But it is, share it. So if you like today and you got some value out of it, then share it. If you didn't get value out of it, share it and open a discussion about what tips we've missed out. Let us know.
Definitely.
So that's Debz and Moira signing off, our deliciously motivated mindset conversation. And today was loving life easily and effortlessly.
Look at how she effortlessly said effortlessly. Love it.
And I had to shut my eyes so I could focus on my heart. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, listeners. Thanks very much, Moira. Lovely.
Thanks, dear Debz. Thanks, listeners. Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.